Hello and welcome back to another episode of my Spotlight series. Today I am so thrilled to be introducing you to Kristina. She is joining us all the way from San Francisco, actually Marin now, which is awesome. Welcome to the call. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Willow.
Yay!
Thanks so much for having me and inviting me to do this Spotlight interview with you. My memories of our time together, it was one of the juiciest times in my life as I was preparing to open my business. So I'm really happy to be here today and to talk about that and how your support just was like huge for me to have by my side as I was getting the ball rolling.
Awesome. I'm so excited to talk about it too because so much has happened. Kristina and I actually worked together in 2015. So now we're filming this in 2017. So it's been a few years, but we worked together for most of the year in 2015. And it's so cool for me to see how your business has grown leaps and bounds. So before we dive in and get started, I would love for you to share with everyone, what is the magic that you're sharing with the world? And we'll definitely give space for where you were and where you are now. But share with us what you do.
So I've been in the beauty and wellness industry for the past 17 years, and I'm preparing to open a eco-friendly beauty and wellness studio here in San Francisco, located in the Mission, a beautiful storefront location. And I have a team of 6 individuals that'll be joining me as of right now. And we'll be offering beauty services, so hair, makeup, skincare, nail care, that's provided using all eco-friendly products. And we're really focusing on taking more of a holistic approach to the overall customer experience in our space, in the space that we're creating.
So awesome. I'm so excited to hear more about that. It's just so cool too, to see where it has come and how it's evolved. So everyone that's watching, doesn't quite know where you were, but share with us, especially kind of going back to you and I think probably met somewhere, in 2014, and then fast forward to when we started working together at the beginning of 2015, and just share with us, where were you at that time with your business or even this idea?
So at that time, I was working. I had just started working as an independent contractor in San Francisco as a hairdresser and makeup artist, and so renting a chair.
Versus just being employed somewhere, right?
Yeah, versus being an employee in a salon environment. And so that was a huge step to say, not only did I bring my life to San Francisco, but now I'm going to join the entrepreneurial train of taking leaps and bounds for myself and in my career space. And so at that point, there was a lot of growth and growth spurts that were happening, and really kind of building my backbone and my core and my strength to be able to stand independently and be self-employed. And I was also wanting to I was wanting to start building my vision for eventually opening up an entire commercial space where I could house a team of independent contractors that would all be working in a similar way. And so I was really looking to have coaching and support from an expert that could speak from a heart-centered place. So someone who is really connected with themselves, not only on an intellectual level, but also on a spirit level, or on a mind, body, and spirit level. And I had worked with many coaches in years before this. And at that time, I was I just needed a little something more. So when I first had a conversation with you at the mindfulness dinner that we met at, I was like, wow, and she's the coach, and I can have these juicy conversations with her. And I feel that she really hears me and can really just get a sense of what I'm up to and help me navigate that. And so that was beautiful. And at that time when I learned of you and all that you provide for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. It makes me just feel so grateful for that process, right? That thing where there's that whisper within you of like, wow, okay, you know you want support and you're not really sure. And then what kismet for you and I to meet at that, dinner party. And then it is, it can be such a vulnerable step, I think, just to reach out and ask for support, especially in that time where you were still kind of finding your sea legs as an independent contractor, and also had this big idea that felt so scary at the time, right? Like almost just like, because you were even in the midst of working on a business plan, you felt like you were wanting to raise some money for it potentially. So it was this huge vision. And so I think that, and I work with so many clients that are at that place, right? Where you're at the beginnings, it's not your first rodeo by any means. You've been a professional working in this realm for a while, but you see what's possible. You have this big vision for where you want to take it. And so, yeah, and I love that you took that call, you listened to that whisper, and you reached out, made it happen.
Yeah, it was interesting too. Yeah, it totally made it happen. And I think another important point to share is that, I was really intimidated at first because I also knew that your background was really big in the tech industry, and I'm an artist. It's like, I've been an artist for a really long time.
So I'm like,
right. Well, and I believe, and I believe we're all artists in our own unique and beautiful ways. But, being in the Bay Area and being in San Francisco, and as big as the tech industry is, it's a big industry and can easily be intimidating if you're not someone who's like really in it. And so I was like, I don't know, maybe she's not for me. I who am I? I'm not in the tech industry, and maybe that's, only her bag, or, I wasn't quite sure. Yeah. And then having that brief conversation with you was like, actually, she's just like an amazing human being. That's brilliant. And that's who I want to be with. So I just need to reach out to her. And it was a beautiful fit. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's so great. Yeah. So in our time working together, and I remember too that you are very much on a spiritual path. That's the underpinnings of your whole business vision, as that that wellness can be done in these, like what normally women don't really connect, right? We have so historically gone to the beauty parlor and just read trashy magazines and like gossiped or something, right? And instead you're like, actually there's a different way. And I feel so fortunate even being able to speak, that I've got to experience your magic firsthand and come in and be a client of yours last year. And so just share with everyone what this vision is. And I love that it's still unfolding, but it's like closer now than ever, which is so cool. But just tell everyone watching, like, what this means, what your vision for how this could be better is, and what that looks like when someone steps into your studio or your salon.
Yeah. So while we're continuing to grow and expand as human beings, and as we continue to evolve, I really believe in my heart that it's also really important to stay connected to the basics. And so this means practicing being present with people when we're with them, appreciating having human touch, also taking time to connect with our own bodies simply by maybe sitting and breathing, and to be able to continue practicing receiving. And being in the beauty industry for as long as I have been, I've really watched how the interactions with myself and my coworkers, and with my clients, and with my coworkers and their clients. And, I just kind of been in this observation space of watching how all of these interactions have been changing and growing and transforming. And I see that there's just a real opportunity for people to start having their beauty time also as a time for wellness, and a time for healing and relaxation and connection not only to the people that they're receiving services from, but connection to themselves. So with that is having an opportunity to set down our devices and get in touch with what the cup of tea tastes like, how the warm water feels when it's moving through your body, what's the aromatherapy that is happening around you, what does it feel like when your hairdresser puts their hand on your shoulder and is creating an art form on your head?
Yeah.
What does it feel like and sound like to just listen to the music that's being played in the space? And just how does the music make you feel emotionally, physically, mentally, and just like being in touch with our senses. Yeah. And so that's what I'm really, intending for Wabi Sabi Beauty to hold space for. It's for people to have those experiences where they walk out from a service being like, God, I look amazing and I feel incredible. And I don't know what all happened, but I just feel like out of this world. And the reason for that is because there was possibly the opportunity to connect and receive on so many different levels within a haircut appointment or a facial or a makeup session or whatnot. So.
Yeah. And you did exactly that. I mean, I was so blown away in my own experience of it, how powerful it is. And, I love that you say it's getting back to the basics, because when you hear it, you're like, oh, well, of course it makes sense. Right. But it really is.
But to practice it.
Yeah. To actually do it. It is really also, it's so simple, and yet it is the one thing that we're kind of missing these days so much, right? We're so, you're right, like so glued to our phones or so on the go, or, that often we are so out of our body. And so for you to couple that experience of going in and not just as another opportunity to check out, but really as an opportunity to actually check in. And connect with yourself. And it is exactly how I felt. I truly felt like it was such a magical visit from beginning to end. And so much of that was just simply your presence and the care that you took to every single detail, so the aromatherapy and, like you said, the tea, it was just so cool. So cool. I wish I lived closer so I could go to you all the time. Yeah. Well, and it's so funny too, to hear you say that you, that intimidation with tech, which I'm sure has shifted from a couple years ago, but just that I know you have, like, you literally take care of some of the best and brightest in tech in San Francisco.
Correct.
So I see, like, I feel like you literally take care of all of the most amazing movers and shakers in San Francisco. So it's been so cool to see that as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, you do the hair for so-and-so. It's great. So hairdressers as stars.
Oh.
So I would love also for you just to share, if, so you're just about to open up this, this, and like just sharing, kind of how that process was for you, if you can think back to working with me and some of the things that we worked on, like I, as do like emotional and strategic support. And can you kind of speak to what you feel was like the most beneficial, or what your experience was of the coaching for you and where you were at?
Mm-hmm. So a few of the fond moments that pop up for me is I always appreciated the speed in which the sessions moved. And my guess, not that I know, because I'm not in every session with you and all your clients, but my guess is that you, Willow, really pay attention to the pace at which each person that you're working with needs or wants to move at. And by taking that into consideration, that really allowed me to feel safe and feel comfortable. And therefore, I was able to really open up and get the most out of the sessions. Because some days, being a really sensitive person, some days I was more like really wanting to go for it and like power through things and on fire, and other days I was feeling more emotional and sensitive, and and I think just as human beings we all have those days in general, but And I just really appreciated that being taken into consideration. So sometimes starting out with the meditation or the breathing exercises was really beautiful, or the visualization exercises just really helped me to get present when being with you and entering into a space with you. And allowed us to get present with each other. And so that I always really valued and loved. And then also the exercises that you provided for me. I think one of them was, I was heading down to LA, and there were a few business owners that I was really excited to connect with and to learn from. And through our conversations and maybe through some exercises that you provided for me, the week prior to my trip or whatnot, really prepared me in my space of courage and strength to go out and be seen. That's something, as much as I'm seen, I also have a really big challenge with being seen. So it's this weird side of myself that I struggle with all the time. I'm like, I'm seen all the time and I love to be seen. And then I'm also like, I don't want anybody to see me. Yeah. And it's very much that, like, being very much an extrovert, but equally an introvert at the same time. And as an artist, really just grappling with that sometimes. And so the exercises that you provided along the way and prepared me for these moments when I was stepping out, just helped me to build my strength, my courage.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was going to say too, that feel like one of the big areas I work on with a lot of clients, you're not alone there, because that is such a, I think that is so present in so much of our business, right? Is like, we can feel so confident and so excited on one side, especially when it comes to a business idea. It can be so clear and so like, yes, this is awesome. And then equally right here on the other side, we can be like, oh shit, who do I think I am? What's going on? And so, what really so much of this is that I work on with my clients is this relationship with yourself, which eventually then transforms into this embodied leadership. So I really see that was the big journey that, we were on together, was a lot about you, standing in your own power, being able to speak up on behalf of your boundaries, being able to show up and be seen. And, this is the whole piece of like not getting in your own way, of like recognizing that this vision was bigger than you. It was bigger than the pieces of you that didn't even feel like you could, but it was, stepping into, I'm sure you recognize this from our work together, is like, this is just an experiment. You're just learning, right? And it somehow like takes that pressure off of having to know or be the, all
be perfect
things that our inner critic wants to like have us live up to. And like, you're just learning. Like, you haven't even opened the studio yet. It's very close, but yeah. And when you're in the moment, it can feel so, so big and so daunting. And so I love that you spoke to that courage that you were really getting. And then, as you probably experienced, every single time we worked together to have you courageously like step forward and take action on behalf of your idea, it got even better and better.
Yeah.
It got even easier, right? Is that true for you?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And just really like, as the time went on, it was like just such a natural flow too. Like in our meetings, it was just like, it kept getting juicier and juicier. And I was like, whoa, this is great. And then before you knew it, it was like my sessions were over. And I was like, oh, it's amazing how that happens.
Yeah. So catch us up then with, so you and I, our last session, I think, was somewhere around like August 2015. So it's now been a full, like year and a half since then. And I know so much has happened. And I was like I said, got to see you last summer, which was so great. And so just catch everyone up here that's watching. We've talked about kind of where you were and some of the journey that was happening there. And, what's happening now? Where are you?
So I'm about to sign a lease on a space on Valencia Street. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a team of 6 individuals and I have room for 10. So That percentage is really nice to have as far as like the size of my team going into opening the doors of this business. What else? I'm preparing to finalize my capital coming up, which is really wild.
Nice.
And I chose to not work with investors, but to actually go with a large small business loan on my own. And I have a couple loan advisors who have been working with me on, just looking at my budget and all of my numbers and making sure that the foundation of the business is set up financially really well. So I feel really blessed to be working with those people. And what else?
And will you share with us, like, this is Wabi Sabi Beauty? Is that what the name of your salon will be called? Or you don't even call it a salon. What do you call it?
Studio.
Okay. And with the 6 people on board, share with everyone kind of what different like magic they bring to the space.
So a lot of the individuals on my team have been in the industry for quite some time. So they're really well-established independent contractors in San Francisco, and some of the best in their area of expertise. So I have a nail technician who works with eco-friendly nail products. So she'll be providing nail services. She also specializes in designs. So her nail art is incredible, which is something that has been really popular over the last few years in the beauty industry. She also has a background as a holistic nutritionist, a certified holistic nutritionist. And so she has elements of that she incorporates within her services just naturally.
Yeah.
And then I have a team of hairdressers who are also going to be providing makeup services. So they work as makeup artists as well. And we all specialize in working with a hair color line, hair product lines, and makeup lines that are all eco-conscious. Many of us also have a background in meditation and energy healing and clairvoyant training, and again, like holistic health and nutrition. And it just so happens that many of us were having these type of practices and trainings in the background outside of being a hairdresser, or outside of being a nail technician or a masseuse or an esthetician. It's like there's also this wellness aspect to us that is equally just as big in our space. But none of us have really had a platform where we've been able to express both the beauty and the wellness combined in one space. And so a lot of it is just naturally like who we are. As you mentioned, Willow, when you had a service with me, and it's not sometimes something that always needs to be bulleted or outlined or, explained, but it's something to be felt. Yeah. And it's also why maybe we're having conversations about transformation or growth, or, life stuff that are wanting to start a meditation practice. These type of conversations happen often with my entire team. And especially as we get closer to opening Wabi Sabi, the spaces that they're currently in, they're like, oh my God, I had like 5 people today who wanted to talk to me about starting a meditation practice, starting yoga, or wanting to learn about energy healing, or seeing a Reiki specialist. And I never have people talk to me about this, and all of a sudden now they want to. And so it's naturally all kind of coming in as like these preventative ways of how do we care for ourselves, and that the inner beauty is connected to the outer beauty, and vice versa, and that like it doesn't work to have one or the other. We need to have both. And to celebrate both. Like, buy a new lipstick, and that's going to shift your energy, which is going to affect you internally. And if it's bright red, maybe it's connected to your first chakra, which is for grounding and your foundation and your strength and your power, and your stability. So maybe that's why you're rocking red lipstick right now. Or maybe it's pink, and that's maybe connected to your heart chakra. and, you know, loving yourself and having affinity for those around you. So there's fun elements like that that we'll be able to have conversations about in the space, which isn't necessarily the norm, you know.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So, and how close are you to opening this? Like, do you have any sense of the open date at this point, or?
Yeah, mid-June.
Okay.
So that gives me about, you know, 8 weeks. It's like one haircut away for most of my clients. So yeah, it's
I am
pretty
so
wild.
excited because
Yeah.
that means I'll be able to go when I'm back in
Yeah.
July.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yay.
And I have a beautiful designer that I'm working with, who's designing the space for me. And she's partnering with a feng shui specialist that she's been working closely with for a long time. So the way that the space will be designed is for people to have little experiences for whatever it is that they're needing by simply standing in front of the T-bar and helping yourself and whatever shows up for someone in that experience. Or when they're walking through and they get some aromatherapy that shows up and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to have that for myself at home this week. I need citrus, or I need something woodsy, and to be able to connect with those type of elements throughout the space while people are visiting.
Yeah, that's what I hear is the biggest thing that you're talking about is like what an experience this will be. Like truly just this multi-sensorial experience that really shifts people, and you know, not only like you said, their hair will look fabulous or their nails will look fabulous or their makeup, but then truly like also it's kind of that beauty within and beauty without of really that transformation. I'm so excited for you. That's so wonderful.
Thanks. It's really also something I'm really excited about too, is that there's 2 men from Tokyo who are opening up a matcha tea bar down the street from us. And their space will be designed in a similar way to Wabi Sabi, which is it's a time to come in and have a slow experience. I was actually told by the owner of the space that they said, look, we don't want a door out the line out the door. We need people to come sit down. It's more of a ceremonial tea experience where they're grinding the matcha leaves right there and, you know, having this whole interaction with the guests. And so I'm really happy that there's another business close by that is also helping people slow down and to receive.
Yeah, that's so great too. And I know with your travels and your awareness, and I love matcha as well. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm only drinking green tea these days, and chai, which I love. But yeah, only on tea. So I totally get that. And just, you know, of course, even being here in Hong Kong and being able to go to tea ceremonies and that awareness of presence. So cool. I mean, that's exactly what I think. And I mean, I told you this even a couple of years ago, but like, this is the time is now. Like to me, I feel like what an ushering in of your gifts. Like this was something, you know, that I always say to all of my clients, but especially you, I was like, sister, this is knocking on your door. Like this is basically saying like, Kristina, this is for you to usher in, and you listened to the call and you are doing it. And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would love for you to just share with everyone, you know, anyone who is considering reaching out for a coach, who either like might be, you know, already have been working in some area and they're ready to, you know, take it to this next level in some different way, or they've got a bigger vision for what's possible in their business. And it might feel daunting. It might feel like a big leap because there is so much of this integrated. It's ourselves. It's our own becoming and our relationship with ourselves, right? As you said. You transformed leaps and bounds in your own work in this last couple of years. And so, yeah, I would just love for you to speak to, you know, making this choice and this decision for yourself, and even the investment that required for you, and that leap of faith that required, and just reflecting back on how that was for you, and how you might even share the benefits of that, or the experience of that with other people who are considering this path.
Right. So there was definitely, you know, a hesitation. I was like, woo, this is a big commitment. You know, I don't know, was it 6 or 12 months or I don't remember.
6 months. Yeah.
6 months. Okay. And, you know, I had I'm like, I knew that 6-month commitments were kind of like this new thing that was happening in areas of like training and development and growth. And, it's like 6 months, it actually isn't that uncommon anymore. It's no longer weekend classes or courses or week long or month long. It's like we're going into a 6-month commitment. And so I had heard of that, and I was familiar with it. And so I was like, okay, another 6-monther here. I was like, well, and the amount of money was something that I was also looking at. So at first there was like the number, right? And then there was what I'm committed to, and not only what I was committed to and what I'm still committed to, but what I wanted. And when I look back at that moment when I was sitting in my living room in my apartment in San Francisco, I remember thinking, can I give this to myself? Can I allow myself to have this? Like, am I like kind of worthy of this experience for myself? And it's like, well, of course. And it's like, okay, well then how can I do it? So I had to sit down and get creative with, how could I make the payments and split it up a little bit or whatnot, and make it work, because it's what I wanted. There comes a point, I feel like, as an entrepreneur where it's about, whatever the project is, whatever the passion is, it's like, I just had to like go for it. It's like, if I didn't allow myself to step and to keep stepping forward and trusting myself in my choices, then, I'd miss out on having what I wanted. And I came to a point where it's like, I couldn't spend any more time or waste any more time not having what I wanted. And so that was kind of like a tipping point for me. It was like, I need to have this. And so, so I worked it out. I think I split it up however I did. And you were so generous in working with me on that. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And, I'll pay for it a little bit this way and a little bit this way. And, and it's just getting creative. And I talk to my friends and family about this a lot, because they see me, I grew up in Wisconsin and in a very small town. And they see me now, I'm in San Francisco and like doing all these kind of big things and making things happen for myself. And they're like, what the hell? Like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I really believe in my heart, it's just the creative place that I play from. And when I get creative, I can find solutions. There's always something or someone or a somehow to make something happen. If I allow myself to ask for help, to be vulnerable, and to stretch out of my comfort zone a little bit. And with that, that's what got me to now owning a business in San Francisco. I came here with no job. I actually went back to Starbucks for 3 months and made lattes. Like, I have a whole story that I'll write when I write a book at some point, because I'd like to do that. Maybe I'll need coaching on that, how to write a book. But this didn't all just show up like overnight. This was, taking the risks. And so, and I knew that ultimately it was all for the bigger picture. And that's what I had to focus on. So.
Yeah. And I think there is such, you spoke to this, which is there's such magic in that commitment, like you said, it is so much about you making that commitment for yourself on behalf of your vision. And that when you do that, there's, that in and of itself, that choice, that decision to step forward and say, yes, I do need support with this. I do want this, I have this vision and this dream, and I do want to make this happen. And right, that you could keep spinning or you could keep wondering, but like, all is you're feeling really called for support. You're feeling really called to create this thing. And that intention is actually what moves mountains. I've seen it so many times with so many of my clients that the power of of that commitment and stepping in and then making the most of our sessions. And, you know, there's an element of it, which I know you felt and I felt in working with you, which is, and the reason why there's such power in 6 months, and many of my clients work with me for a year, year and a half, 2 years, which is that it's about continuing to show up, and that there's inevitably tough times in on our path and on our journey where we're just like, that's it, I can't do it anymore. Or either we want to give up, or we're just like, we've hit a wall, or something, right? It really tests our mettle to the, the nth degree. And when you do hit those, that's when the power of a coach is like right there. And you're like, okay, we're still showing up. When's your next session? Like, let's do this. And no matter what's coming up, even if it is like, the, you know, crunchy hardest feelings, and you're like, it's like,
I remember a few of those.
And then we show up, and then inevitably it moves through, and all of a sudden there's another new dawn right around the corner, and that's when transformation happens. And so often we're not even brave enough to step in and work with somebody to really get there. But when we do,
it's the best.
Yeah, it is the best. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's very similar to the work that you're doing in your studio, which is like, how beautiful that we can invest in ourselves in a way that truly transforms and shifts us, and really that we get to then become, you know, I almost want to say like a better person, but it's different. It's like a more evolved or deepened, sparkly transformed version of ourselves.
Yeah, and just to shine. Everyone is worthy of shining. Everyone is. And it's a disservice to not be shining on a regular basis.
Beautiful. I just adore you. Such an honor and a pleasure of working with you, Kristina, knowing you and supporting you, and just so awesome to see, you know, not only our work together, but just to see how you've continued to hold this baby, and now it's just about to be actually like really officially birthed into this world, and I'm so excited to come experience it for myself in July.
Thank you so much. And it reminds me that maybe I need to sign up for another 6 to 12 month program session, coaching session. Like, getting ready for a next round. So.
Especially with, and that's a really, it's really poignant too, because as we evolve through these different levels of our business, a really big one is, as you well know, is like when you have a team, and that once you have that team and all the relationships and the dynamics that are coming up there, that's a big one that I work on with a lot of my clients. I know you and I even worked on it then. So I would be honored. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for everyone who watched and joined us. And if you're ever in San Francisco, please go visit Kristina at Wabi Sabi Beauty and all of her wonderful, supportive, spiritual beings that are in there that are going to be healing and going. I just am so excited to experience it and see it how it's designed. So exciting. Awesome. Have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To learn all about the work I do with visionary entrepreneurs around the world, and to access more inspiring videos and helpful resources for you on your path, be sure to visit willowlovesyou.com.